Welcome back to the ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we dive deep into the explosive drama set to unfold on Tuesday, November 18th, where tensions erupt in unexpected ways across Port Charles. In the bustling corridors of General Hospital, Britt Westburn's patience finally snaps in a confrontation that leaves everyone stunned. As the episode kicks off, Britt corners young Emma Scorpio Drake, gripping her arm with a fierce determination that echoes the high-stakes world of medical intrigue they've both navigated. Emma, fiery and unyielding like her parents, lashes out immediately, demanding Britt release her with a sharp, "Get your hands off me now." But Britt, her eyes blazing with a mix of frustration and protectiveness, holds firm, insisting they hash out the truth before things spiral further out of control. This clash stems from the fallout of Rocco Falcone's disastrous court appearance, where the lab break-in has been painted as a felony masterminded by a group of misguided teens. Britt, ever the no-nonsense doctor with a hidden soft spot for the Falconeri family, unleashes her suspicions, pointing an accusatory finger at Emma as the potential spark behind the entire reckless scheme. She paints a vivid picture of Emma rallying her friends into this forbidden adventure, driven by curiosity about classified research that could have exposed dangerous secrets at the hospital. Adding layers to the tension, Britt reveals a personal stake. Her own brushes with ethical dilemmas in the lab make her hyper-vigilant, fearing that one wrong move could drag the whole institution down. As their argument escalates, whispers of past alliances between the Scorpio Drake clan and Britt's complicated history surface, hinting at buried resentments that could fracture lifelong bonds. Viewers will be on the edge of their seats, wondering if this physical standoff will lead to a heartfelt reconciliation or deepen the rift in Port Charles' tight-knit community. Meanwhile, across town in a quieter moment laced with vulnerability, Giovanni Joe Palmieri opens up to Brook Lynn Quartermain in a confession that could redefine their budding connection. Joe, the charming musician with a conscience heavier than his guitar strings, admits he's the one who pulled Rocco into the ill-fated lab intrusion, his voice trembling as he recounts how a late-night conversation about scientific wonders turned into a daring escapade. He describes the pull of youthful impulsiveness, how he convinced Rocco that sneaking a peek at Professor Henry Hank Dalton's experiments would be harmless fun, only to realize too late the Pandora's box they'd unleashed. Brook Lynn, with her signature blend of empathy and street-smart wisdom from her Quartermain upbringing, listens intently, her hand gently squeezing his in reassurance. She counters his guilt by sharing her own tales of family scandals, like the time she covered for a sibling's wild scheme, emphasizing that mistakes are part of growing up in a city full of larger-than-life drama. Yet, beneath her comforting words lies worry about Dante Falcone's inevitable fury. Dante, the dedicated cop with a protective streak a mile wide, won't take kindly to anyone endangering his son. Brook Lynn speculates on how to break the news to Dante, perhaps framing it as a lesson learned rather than outright rebellion, while inventing a subplot where Joe offers to perform a private concert for the Falconeers as amends. This heartfelt exchange not only humanizes Joe, but also weaves in threads of romance as Brook Lynn's supportive nature draws him closer, potentially setting the stage for a musical duet that symbolizes their harmony amid chaos. Shifting to the emotional turmoil gripping the Spencer family, Lulu Spencer finds herself at a crossroads, her maternal instincts clashing with the harsh realities of the justice system. Over coffee with Carly Corinthos, Lulu pours out her fears about Rocco facing years behind bars for what she insists was a minor prank blown out of proportion by Dalton's overzealous testimony. She vividly recalls the night of the break-in, painting it as a group of kids driven by innocent awe at glowing vials and holographic displays in the lab. Far from the criminal conspiracy Dalton has spun to aid Justine Turner, Lulu's desperation peaks as she questions whether Carly's influence could sway the outcome, specifically by enlisting Jack Brennan, the shadowy fixer who's bailed out Carly's circle more times than anyone can count. Carly, ever the resilient businesswoman with a network of favors owed, pauses thoughtfully, weighing the risks of pulling strings in a town where secrets have a way of resurfacing. In this expanded scene, Lulu invents a hypothetical plea deal scenario, imagining Brennan using his covert connections to uncover Dalton's own shady dealings with experimental funding, turning the tables on the professor. Their conversation delves into the broader theme of parental sacrifice, with Carly drawing parallels to her own battles for her children, ultimately nodding in agreement to at least explore Brennan's help. This alliance could ripple through Port Charles, blending Spencer resilience with Corinthos' cunning in a bid to save Rocco from a fate that feels unjustly severe. The day's public spectacle reaches a fever pitch as Laura Collins unleashes a meltdown that's sure to go viral in Port Charles gossip mills. Surrounded by a growing crowd of onlookers, their smartphones capturing every raw emotion, Laura confronts Professor Dalton head-on in a dramatic outdoor showdown near the courthouse steps. Her voice rises in accusation, branding him a fabricator of lies for the damning, falsified evidence he's fed to Ada Turner. Evidence that includes doctored logs and planted fingerprints pinning the lab chaos squarely on Rocco and his friends. Laura, the esteemed mayor with a spine of steel forged from years of political battles, doesn't hold back, her words slicing through the air like a courtroom gavel as she demands Dalton admit his vendetta stems from a personal grudge over rejected research grants. Adding invented depth, the scene flashes back to a tense faculty meeting where Dalton's ego clashed with Laura's oversight committee, fueling his current crusade. As the cameras roll, bystanders murmur about the irony. Laura, usually the picture of composure, reduced to tears and shouts, her hands gesturing wildly to emphasize the injustice. This outburst not only highlights the perils of unchecked authority, but also foreshadows potential backlash, with social media buzz amplifying Laura's plight and pressuring the DA's office to reconsider the case. In the aftermath, Laura might rally allies, like her husband Kevin, for damage control, turning personal vulnerability into a catalyst for systemic change in how youthful errors are handled. In the more introspective confines of Alexis Davis' law office, Ric Lansing seeks a path to redemption that tugs at old family ties. Seated across from his ex-wife, Ric lays bare his efforts to mend fences with Sonny Corinthos, recounting a recent sit-down where olive branches were extended over shared history and mutual respect for their turbulent past. He pivots the conversation toward Alexis, suggesting it's high time they bury the hatchet too, his tone laced with genuine remorse for the betrayals that once shattered their marriage. Alexis, the sharp-witted attorney who's seen it all, listens with a mix of skepticism and nostalgia, her fingers tapping the desk as she recalls their whirlwind romance amid legal battles and mob shadows. Ric elaborates on his growth, inventing details like attending therapy sessions focused on co-parenting and ethical dilemmas, aiming to prove he's not the same opportunistic lawyer from years ago. This exchange opens doors to speculation about rekindled sparks, though Alexis' guarded heart still healing from recent heartaches keeps things tentative. It underscores the Corinthos-Davis-Lansing web of connections, where peace in one corner could stabilize the entire Port Charles underworld. Finally, the romantic entanglements thicken as Curtis Ashford navigates a pivotal talk with Portia Robinson, the heir between them charged with unspoken possibilities. Portia, sensing the weight of his words, braces for Curtis to propose sticking together for the sake of their unborn child, her eyes searching his for clues amid the hospital's fluorescent hum. Curtis, influenced perhaps by Stella Henry's impassioned plea for family unity or Trina Robinson's subtle nudges toward reconciliation, admits he's contemplating giving their relationship another shot. He elaborates on visions of co-parenting in a blended home, drawing from his cultural roots where community trumps individual desires, and even invents a scenario of weekend getaways to rebuild trust. Yet Portia hesitates, her reservations fueled by Curtis' lingering glances at Jordan Ashford and his magnetic pull toward her during recent crises. She confronts him gently, questioning if this is love or obligation, weaving in memories of their wedding vows tested by infidelity scandals. This dialogue exposes the love triangle's complexities, with Jordan's professional poise adding a layer of forbidden allure. General Hospital teases that Curtis, Portia, and Jordan will grapple with these heart-wrenching choices, promising more twists in the weeks ahead as loyalties shift and passions ignite. Next, we will learn about the explosive tensions brewing at the PCPD as Nathan West steps into a high-stakes partnership with Harrison Chase, potentially unraveling secrets that could shatter lives in Port Charles. In the shadowy corridors of the Port Charles Police Department, desperation has reached a boiling point, leading to an unlikely alliance between veteran Detective Nathan West and the ever-dedicated Harrison Chase. Nathan, still grappling with fragments of his amnesia, has been thrust back into the fray, his sharp instincts now aligned with Chase's relentless pursuit of justice. This duo isn't just collaborating on routine cases, they're knee-deep in a conspiracy that hits close to home for both men. Chase's primary mission is to exonerate Willow Tate, the resilient nurse whose life hangs in the balance after being accused of shooting Drew Kane in a chaotic confrontation at the Quartermain estate. Willow's innocence isn't just a hunch Chase has uncovered overlooked evidence, like a misplaced security camera glitch and an anonymous tip suggesting a framed job by a shadowy figure tied to the Casadini legacy. As they pore over witness statements late into the night, the air thickens with unspoken history between Chase and Willow, ex-lovers whose chemistry still simmers beneath professional facades. The odds of Nathan stumbling upon something explosive between these two former flames? We'd bet our last Metro Court reservation on it being sky-high. Nathan's role isn't merely supportive. He's been explicitly tasked with shadowing Chase's every move, a directive straight from the top that could turn him into an unwitting spy in a personal drama. Imagine Nathan overhearing a heated exchange in the evidence room, Willow's voice cracking as she confesses lingering doubts about her past choices, or Chase's hand brushing hers a second too long while handing over a crucial file. These moments, charged with unresolved passion, could ignite a firestorm if Nathan reports back. His amnesia might cloud some memories, but his moral compass remains intact, honed from years battling Port Charles' darkest elements like the infamous drone crime syndicate. This setup promises classic soap intrigue, where professional boundaries blur into forbidden territory, especially as November sweeps ramp up the drama with cliffhangers that keep viewers glued to their screens. At the helm of this precarious operation is Acting Commissioner Dante Falconeri. Stepping up in Anna Devane's mysterious absence, rumors swirl that she's off chasing leads on an international espionage ring involving Valentin Casadin's hidden assets. Dandy's decision to reinstate Nathan, despite Anna's earlier veto due to concerns over his memory lapses, stems from a deeper trust forged in their shared history as brothers in blue. Nathan, the streets need your edge, Dante confides in a tense office meeting, his eyes scanning reports of rising tensions in the waterfront district. Hiring an amnesiac might seem like a gamble, but in Port Charles, where every cop has their demons from Sonny Corinthos' influence to the latest Metro Court bombing aftermath, it's a calculated risk. This chain of command sets the stage for operatic fallout. Nathan's vigilance could expose not just Chase's extracurricular sleuthing, but also vulnerabilities in the department itself, like outdated protocols that allowed Drew's shooting to escalate unchecked. As Sweeps Month unfolds, expect twists that tie this back to broader feuds, perhaps even pulling in Carly Spencer as an unwitting ally with her insider knowledge of Drew's military past. Dandy's appointment as temporary commissioner came directly from Mayor Laura Collins, who, amid her own battles with the undead threats of her son Lucky's disappearances, prioritized stability in law enforcement. Laura's endorsement wasn't casual. She personally advocated for Nathan's return during a stormy City Hall session, citing his proven track record in cracking cases like the nurses' ball hostage crisis. "We can't afford hesitation now," Laura declares, her voice steady as she hands Dante the badge, unaware that this move catapults Nathan into Chase's orbit at the worst possible time. Chase, meanwhile, is walking a razor's edge. His badge dangles by a thread as he juggles official duties with a clandestine probe into Willow's alibi, including late-night stakeouts near the Quartermain boathouse where the shooting occurred. New details emerge. Chase discovers a tampered bullet casing linked to a long-forgotten rival of Drew's, hinting at corporate sabotage from LQ Industries' boardroom wars. Nathan's watchful presence adds layers of suspense. Will he interpret Chase's fervor as dedication or dereliction? In the glittering chaos of Port Charles, where alliances shift like tides, this oversight could either solidify the PCPD or fracture it from within. Fast forward to the gripping events of the November 12th episode, where Chase's devoted wife, Brook Lynn, issues a stern warning that echoes through their luxurious Pentonville penthouse. Harrison, you're into deep. This isn't just about justice. It's about us, Brook Lynn urges, her eyes flashing with a mix of love and fear as she clutches a glass of vintage Chardonnay. Her intuition, sharpened by years navigating the Quartermain family's cutthroat dynamics, senses the pull Willow still exerts on her husband. This cautionary tale foreshadows deeper peril. Chase's fixation might blind him to the noose tightening around his career, especially if his private inquiries lead to unauthorized access of police databases. Inventing a new wrinkle, picture Brook Lynn enlisting her cousin Ned to dig into Willow's background, unearthing a forgotten connection to the late Franco Baldwin that complicates loyalties further. If Nathan catches wind of these extracurricular entanglements, perhaps witnessing a clandestine meeting between Chase and Willow at the Floating Rib, where whispers turn to embraces, the fallout could be catastrophic. As Willow's uncle through his ties to the Price family lineage, Nathan's protective instincts would surge. He'd shield her from scandal at all costs, even if it means confronting his own fragmented past. Yet, in the unpredictable world of Port Charles, good intentions often pave the road to ruin. Chase's zeal to clear Willow's name might inadvertently spotlight her vulnerabilities, drawing unwanted scrutiny from prosecutors eager to close the Drew Kane case amid election year pressures on the DA's office. Overstepping could mean fabricating alibis or pressuring witnesses, moves that Nathan, with his by-the-book ethos, would flag immediately. Romantically, the stakes soar higher. A stolen kiss in the rain-slicked parking garage of General Hospital could spell doom for Chase's marriage. Brook Lynn, no stranger to betrayal after her tumultuous history with Nicola's Casadini, would unleash a Quartermain-sized reckoning. Think asset freezes, social ostracism, and perhaps even Tracy's venomous interference, who views Willow as an interloper in the family fold. Tracy's potential wrath adds a delicious layer. She'd weaponize ELQ shares to isolate Chase, forcing him to choose between love and legacy in boardroom showdowns laced with biting one-liners. We foresee Nathan, caught in this web, confiding in Dante about any impropriety he observes, loyalty to the badge overriding personal ties. Dante, ever the mediator with his own romantic entanglements via Samacol, wouldn't hesitate to loop in Brook Lynn, igniting a chain reaction of confrontations that ripple through the elite circles of Port Charles. Picture an explosive Quartermain dinner where accusations fly like champagne corks, exposing fractures in alliances long thought unbreakable. Nathan himself faces a moral quagmire in his nascent role. Torn between mentoring a colleague and upholding the law, his amnesia might resurface memories of similar dilemmas from his time pursuing Liesl Obrich's secrets, amplifying the internal turmoil. Sizzling General Hospital spoilers hint that Nathan's position shadowing Chase places him squarely between loyalty and betrayal, a classic soap dilemma primed for heartbreak and redemption. As these threads intertwine, Port Charles teeters on the brink of scandal, with Willow's fate, Chase's marriage, and the PCPD's integrity all hanging in the balance. Do you believe Chase will succumb to temptation with Willow, reigniting their old spark? And if he does, who poses the greater threat, Brook Lynn's fiery passion or Tracy Quartermain's icy machinations? Next, we dive deep into the jaw-dropping chaos that unfolded on the November 11, 2025 episode, where the Port Charles Police Department took a turn into utter madness. Viewers across the nation were utterly stunned as the once reliable PCPD found itself in a whirlwind of controversy, all thanks to a decision that defied every rule in the book. Acting Commissioner Dante Falconeri, usually the picture of level-headed justice, shocked everyone by personally handing over a gleaming badge and a loaded service pistol to none other than Nathan West, the enigmatic officer who's been officially listed as deceased for a full 7 years. This wasn't some hasty field promotion or a temporary deputization that might stretch the limits of protocol. No, Dante went full throttle by reinstating Nathan as a full-fledged detective, complete with all the authority and firepower that entails. Imagine the ripple effects. Whispers in the precinct hallways turned to outright gasps, with veteran officers exchanging wide-eyed glances as if they'd witnessed a resurrection straight out of a horror flick. Dandy's bold move has fans buzzing on social media, with hashtags like Nathan Returns and Pucked Gone Wild trending overnight. As everyone scrambles to unpack the legal nightmares this could unleash, from chain of command violations to potential lawsuits from the mayor's office. At the heart of this bewildering choice lies Dandy's unshakable confidence in Nathan. But even he can't ignore the glaring red flags waving in the wind. True Commissioner Anna Devane, fresh off a high-stakes assignment with the World Security Bureau, had explicitly voiced her reservations about bringing Nathan back into the fold during a tense confrontation in her office just days prior. "Nathan, I admire your spirit, but 7 years off the grid. We need answers where you've been, what you've seen, and how you've survived without a trace," Anna had pressed, her British accent sharpening with concern as she paced the room. Files on Nathan's cold case scattered across her desk. Yet Dante, stepping up in her absence due to the WASB's secretive demands, brushed aside those cautions like yesterday's headlines. He cited a supposedly flawless psychological evaluation conducted in a covert session at the hospital, claiming Nathan's instincts were sharper than ever after his mysterious downtime. But let's peel back the layers. What about the rust on his tactical skills, honed in an era before drones and cyber threats dominated policing? Or the emotional scars from faking his death? Did those late-night shadows in his eyes hint at unresolved trauma that could crack under pressure? Dandy's gamble feels like a high-wire act without a net, especially when the stakes involve armed officers patrolling Port Charles' shadowy underbelly. As if the rehiring spectacle wasn't bizarre enough, Dante wasted no time assigning Nathan a role that screams ulterior motives. Pairing him directly with Detective Harrison Chase, the very man who stepped into Nathan's shoes as Dandy's trusted partner years ago. This dynamic duo reboot comes with a twist. Dante pulled Nathan aside in the dimly lit evidence room, the air thick with the scent of old case files, and confided, "Chase is too invested in Willow Tate's ongoing investigation. I need your fresh eyes to keep things balanced." Willow's case, tangled in layers of corporate espionage and personal betrayals at the Quartermain Empire, has Chase walking a tightrope between duty and his deepening connections to the Corinthos clan. Nathan, ever the stoic professional from his pre-death days, nodded solemnly, but fans can't help but sense the irony. Chase, who grieved Nathan's loss publicly at his memorial, now shadowing a ghost from the past. This partnership could spark fireworks, picture-heated stakeouts where old rivalries bubble up, or Chase probing Nathan's gaps in memory during quiet moments over coffee at Kelly's Diner. It's a powder keg waiting to ignite, potentially exposing cracks in the PCPD's unity just as Port Charles braces for escalating threats from international smugglers circling the docks. The plot thickens exponentially with Willow Tate's inexplicable early release from the iron-barred confines of Pentonville Penitentiary, a development that landed like a bombshell amid Nathan's reinstatement. Willow, Nathan's devoted niece whose loyalty has been the emotional anchor through her own storms of legal troubles, walked free under mysterious circumstances. Rumors swirl of a clerical error in her sentencing paperwork, expedited by an anonymous tip to the warden. No sooner had she dusted off the prison grime than she crossed paths with her young son, Wiley Quartermain, during an intimate family dinner at the Quartermain mansion. There, under the grand chandelier's glow, Willow froze in the doorway as she spotted Wiley giggling at the table with his father, Michael Quartermain, and Michael's new flame, the poised socialite Jacinda, whose elegant red gown and knowing smile hinted at deeper ambitions. "Mommy!" Wiley's innocent cry pierced the air But Willow's face twisted in a mix of joy and fury had Michael moved on too swiftly, parading Jacinda as the picture-perfect stepmom, while Willow fought for scraps of visitation rights behind bars. This reunion gone awry sets the stage for explosive confrontations, with Willow perhaps enlisting Nathan's newfound badge to dig into Michael's choices, blurring family lines with police procedure. Is there a grand design weaving these threads together, or is Port Charles spiraling into pure pandemonium? Speculation runs rampant that Dandy's actions aren't as impulsive as they appear. Perhaps he's orchestrating an elaborate sting operation, using Nathan as bait to flush out moles within the department who've been leaking intel on Willow's case. After all, during a clandestine meeting in Anna's vacated office, Dante could have whispered contingencies to Nathan. Watch Chase, but no, I'm watching you to prove you're the ally we need. Alternatively, these events might collide in tragedy Willow's release time perfectly to draw out hidden enemies, with Nathan's rusty aim tested in a midnight showdown at the waterfront. Fan theories explode online, from Nathan harboring a secret agenda tied to his death, maybe a witness protection twist involving old foes like the Casadinis, to a heartfelt redemption arc where he shields Willow from Jacinda's scheming influence, perhaps uncovering that Jacinda's not just arm candy, but a corporate spy embedded in the Quartermain Circle. Whatever the truth, the air in Port Charles crackles with tension as everyday scenes like that dinner devolve into battlegrounds of whispered accusations and slammed doors. Looking ahead, the fallout from Nathan's return promises to reshape alliances in ways we can scarcely predict, keeping viewers glued to their screens for every twist. To Pops loom large. Either Nathan reveals a darker side, his 7 lost years masking vendettas that turn him against the very force that mourned him, leading to betrayals that shatter the Falconeri legacy, or he emerges as the unsung hero, his instincts firing on all cylinders to avert disaster-saving Chase from a setup in Willow's orbit and cementing his place back in the badge's glow. With Anna's return on the horizon, expect interrogations that peel away the resurrection's veil, while Willow navigates her fragile freedom amid family fractures. Tune in daily to unravel this web of deception and daring. Port Charles has never felt more alive or more dangerously unpredictable.